I received a pretty good question the other day on our Facebook page from someone we'll refer to as Jay. It reads, I'm making an open-air PC case out of wood. This is for a craft show, and it's coming along nicely. In the end, it'll be an art/show piece as much as it will be a full-fledged PC. I'll be doing plenty of testing for thermals and performance, but should I worry about protecting myself when it comes to liability after I sell it? I'll have no idea how the new owner will take care of it, and if something happens, maybe a piece breaks, maybe something catches fire to be extreme, are there steps I need to take in order to release any liability? That may not even be necessary. I've never done this type of sale before. Well, Jay, this is actually a super great question, one that isn't asked enough, if I'm being frank, and I want to break down how we approach this issue to help answer it. So stay with me. The stylish Be Quiet Shadow Rock 3 offers exceptional cooling while maintaining a silent profile thanks to a PWM Shadow Wings 2 fan. And with a 190 watt TDP, expect plenty of overclocking headroom. Click the link below to learn more. Now I want to start by throwing out a very important disclaimer. I am not a lawyer. Seek a lawyer for legal advice. My goal in this video is to simply lay out how we do things and our rationale for why we do what we do. So to summarize, Jay's question alludes to potential lawsuits brought about by your PC specifically. So maybe you threw in a faulty power supply, ticking time bomb, if you will. Maybe it shorts out and takes the motherboard and the CPU with it. Been there, done that. Maybe the entire house catches fire and the person you sold the PC to loses almost everything. Okay, that one's a bit extreme, but it's still a possibility nonetheless. And we'll assume the extreme for this discussion, as you should with any insurance policy. If you're the seller and the fire marshal declares that your PC, that you sold to that buyer is at fault, you can be sued. You can be sued for anything, really, in the US. Just ask me. But there are always ways by which you can protect yourself and your business, and I'd like to discuss some of those in this video. First and foremost, the most obvious option would be to sell the PC as is, Put something in writing that says the buyer knowingly accepts full responsibility for the system after money exchanges hands. You're essentially signing over the liability. You can literally bring 2 copies of a very simple contract to the place of sale, have both parties sign, give a copy to each party along with what I would recommend be a receipt of sale, and be on your way. It'd definitely be a bit weird to bring a contract to a Walmart parking lot for the exchange of a PC for cash, and that may potentially shy away a buyer, but it's an option, and it's one that, admittedly, I haven't done in my lifetime, but looking back, I almost should have. You can't really trust anyone when it comes to business. That's why we say what we say. It isn't personal, it's just business, although if you're just frivolously suing somebody, that can be interpreted as a personal attack. But you could certainly take things a step further than just a simple handwritten or typed up contract on Microsoft Word. Liability insurance exists for these very reasons. If something you inadvertently do results in property loss or medical bills, liability insurance can offset and even completely cover costs associated with a lawsuit. Now, obviously, if you're just a casual PC builder and reseller, going so far as to carry this kind of insurance can be a bit extreme, but again, insurance is there for the extreme. We have home insurance, house insurance, in the event of a catastrophic, a fire or a tornado, act of God, something you can't control. We have auto insurance in the case of an accident that we clearly don't plan to have, I would hope. So insurance is there for the unexpected. It's okay to assume crazy things happen because, you know what? They do. But if you decide that liability insurance isn't for you, the simple contract most of the time can still act as a failsafe. And it's what I would personally use if I was not in a professional setting, if I just did this once or twice. But assuming it is for you, there are many types of liability insurances out there, and it's important to know which is the most applicable. There's general liability, which covers things like random accidents, property damage, and faulty products. That one's pretty self-explanatory and fairly broad. Then there's professional liability, which also includes accidents associated with negligence tied to your work. So maybe you gave a bad recommendation that led to severe financial loss. You told a guy to build a PC for his company, and that PC ended up being terrible for his company, so the company fired him. He could turn it around back on you and say you gave him terrible PC building advice, right? That's a very loose example, but I'm sure it's happened once or twice. And then there's business owner's liability, which is what many small businesses use to protect against acts of God, lost income, and excessive damage to property. This one's especially useful for businesses in areas that are prone to natural disasters. So, for example, my previous hometown, Panama City, Florida, suffered severe hurricane damage from Hurricane Michael a couple years ago. Businesses utilized this coverage to compensate employees, leases, and destroyed property while they were closed because of the destruction that they incurred. But the one you should most likely focus on if you're a small one-man LLC is general liability insurance. Basically, if you make a mistake and someone's injured or property is destroyed, that is what general liability insurance is for. It's for a worst case scenario, something that you don't expect to happen, but that still has a small chance of happening. And when it comes to PC builds, that's about the worst that could happen. I mean, your house burning down because your PC, that's bad luck Brian 2.0. I'm not sure how you could pull it off, but I'm sure it has happened. Now, I know that discussing things like insurance takes the seriousness level of a video to the extreme, and I really don't want this kind of discussion to push people away from PC building, even if you're doing it as a hobby for friends or family. But the fact of the matter is, people are ruthless, blood-sucking money whores, and they will do anything for a quick bite. Insurance companies know this and they capitalize on it, and it's why you should at least consider insuring yourself or your practice if you take it seriously and deal with random strangers on at least a semi-daily basis. Going a bit off script here, personal experience, my general liability coverage, very cheap. It's not something that you should be afraid of financially unless you are not making much money at all, and then I would question why you even have the business in the first place. But we're talking under $100 a month for millions of dollars of coverage, which I hope I will never need anyway. But again, insurance is there for that extreme off chance case. Which with PC building, I don't know, I could be sued by another Dustin, who knows. But that's all for this one. If you guys like the video, click that thumbs up button, click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. My name's Greg. Thanks for learning with me.